having visited Aurangabad as a student, and I was in St. Anthony's, Bombay, and we had the links with St. Anthony's in Aurangabad. So we hosted by them for a week. We were taken around the beautiful city of Aurangabad, and we also had the pleasure of visiting Ajanta and Ellora caves. So this was a long time back, and when things are better, I look forward to coming and meeting you again face to face. My friends, just now, a young Rotarian or Rotractor presented a proposal of collaboration between hotels and hospitals. As a matter of fact, we did this. We implemented this in our country when the COVID was on the rise and when there were no beds available. Certain hotels were taken over and turned into a COVID hospitals. Even the expo center where we do the trade exhibition was taken over, and each expo center had around 100 beds. I'm glad that once we flattened the curve, the hotels have gone back to the hotel business and the expo center returned to the Commerce Ministry for doing the trade exhibition. So this is practical and possible, and it is not a very big deal. It depends on the needs as to what are the current needs of the pandemic and how much are the hospital beds in demand. This was just a comment on that, but a good thought, a good suggestion. Rotary Foundation month in November has started, and I'm pleased to share with you that today at a brunch, I had an interaction with one of the members of my own club, and I got a check of $100,000 for Rotary Foundation. This Rotarian has just not given $100,000, but he has agreed to become the Arch Club Society member also. So I thought that this is a good news, and it being a trustee, it's my duty to share with you. My friends, Rotary Foundation, as Mahesh mentioned, does wonders. It does, during the time of COVID, during the time of any disaster, it goes into action immediately, and grants were approved in 24 hours or less. The global grants which were for COVID were also immediately approved, may it be for ventilators or may it be for respirators. It was never stopped, and it was the desire of the Rotary Foundation trustees that we need to be with our fellow citizens to fight the worst pandemic we are going through. This pandemic put 80 million people, children at risk. 80 million children in 35 countries. Just not of polio, just not of measles, just not of rubella, but of so many diseases, because, for the immunization to discontinue for 7 months was a very, very long time. Coming to polio and the region, in 2019, we were less than 12 cases, and we were heading to bring it down to 0. Unfortunately, we had I should not say unfortunately, we had the national elections. For 7 months, in the political turmoil and in the handing over to the new elected government, all the positions of polio of focal person, health minister were not filled up. The polio activities were sidetracked. This hampered the program. We picked up and moved forward. And then on 22nd of April, we faced, a fake campaign attacking the OPV, saying children died. No one died. We took some time to get out of that and move forward to zero. And COVID came away. 7.5 months were lost in July. And then in this time, the polio-derived cases kept on increasing. Like today, we have around 122 wild polio cases between Pakistan and Afghanistan, whereas the derived cases are around 431, which are... Can I talk? So we had 431 derived cases so far, and most of these are in Africa, many parts of Africa, including Nigeria, some in Philippines, some in Thailand, some in Myanmar, and in Malaysia, not in Thailand, I'm sorry. And these derived cases erupt due to the low routine immunization, which needs to be improved all over. My friend, so, in July this year, when COVID was still around, we started a campaign on small scale, not disturbing COVID activities, protecting the frontline workers from COVID, and at the same time, immunizing the children. Moving forward in August, the campaign size was increased. And in September, after a break of 7.5 months, we were able to do a national immunization drive in Pakistan and Afghanistan. In Pakistan, targeting 40 million children, and Afghanistan targeting 3.5 million children. Afghanistan has a big law and order problem where it is very difficult to reach children. The same goes for northern part of Pakistan, where we can reach only with the help of Pakistan Army. Picking up from there, we are moving forward. The good news, Nigeria has been declared wild polio free. This is a point of celebration, and we hope that wild polio ceases in Pakistan and Afghanistan also. For the derived cases, after 20 years of research, and after putting in a lot of funds, a novel vaccine has been approved. This vaccine is made in Indonesia, approved by WHO, and is to be rolled out any day. And the distribution is going to start in those areas, in those cities where the derived cases are more. This vaccine availability is going to be an issue. Second thing, it is going to be an expensive vaccine. So we hope that we find alternate solution also. Now, the polio virus had 3 strains. We did away with 2 and 3 long time back. So we were fighting with 1. But now the derived cases have forced us that a new trivalent vaccine, which was discarded in 2017, has been made specially for Pakistan and Afghanistan. This trivalent will be used in the NIDs in November and December. And this trivalent will have 2 effects. It will be able to take care of wild polio cases and at the same time of derived cases. We hope that it will be a success. We hope that the new Nova vaccine will be a success. And we hope that we will be able to move forward to fulfill the promise we made 41 years back to the children of the world, that no child will suffer from this crippling disease. My friends, today with the pandemic, we keep on praying, we keep on thinking that when will the vaccine come? When will the vaccine arrive and help us to get rid of COVID-19? On the other side, for polio, we do have a vaccine. We do have. In early 50s, Professor Jonas Salk gave a vaccine. And when he was asked by the journalist that how much you want as a patent right for this vaccine, Professor Jonas Salk replied, I do not want anything. This will be my gift to the children of the world. When we have the vaccine, let no notions stop us. It doesn't have anything against the religion. It doesn't have anything against the health. It's going to protect the life of the children. In the September round, which we did, it was a very good round. And I'm pleased to share that for the first time in South Waziristan, we were able to do door-to-door campaign with the help of Pakistan Army. So my friends, early this year, in February, President Holger, Trustee Chair K.R. Ravindran, and International Polio Plus Committee Chair Mike McGovern visited Pakistan, and I had arranged their meetings with the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, with the Chief of Army Staff, General Qamar Bajwa, and with the Health Minister. They had a very positive response from all three and received full commitment from them that they will work day and night to make sure polio is gone from this region. Now, COVID came our way. We are trying to get out of COVID. So we have to keep on reminding the leaders, but they are aware. For example, the September NIDs were inaugurated by Prime Minister Imran Khan and at the same time by General Bajwa. And he also made a commitment again that we will make sure that polio is out of this region. If these two leaders want, they can play an important role in helping us in Afghanistan also, which we are again trying. My friends, if you have any questions and if I have stepped out, my email is with District Governor, District Governor Harish Motwani, with the chairman of this webinar, Chandrakan. Please send me an email. I will respond to you. And I want to share one more thing, that what is the important event for which I'm leaving such a important webinar and going. Now, this is a closing ceremony of a tennis tournament. Now, not tennis for you and me. This tennis tournament is being played by crippled children. They are playing it on wheelchairs made specially for this purpose. These are called speed wheelchairs. And we had imported one from USA, and then our local manufacturers did a good job. It has got big wheels and it goes very fast. So when I go there, I will not be able to make these children walk, but I would be able to give a pat on the back that in spite of being handicapped by polio, they have not given up that desire to fight back and to create a place in this society and play games which even those who are healthy seldom play. My thanks to the President, once again to District Governor Harish Chandrakant, and my friends and colleagues Mahesh, Gulam, and Geeta. And thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Aziz Menon. The next speaker is Trustee Rotarian Geeta Manek from RI District 9212, Nairobi, Kenya. I know you all are waiting to hear Geeta Manek, but a formal introduction is a must. And we have past President Rotarian Anup Goyal to introduce her. I request Anupji to introduce Trustee Geeta Manek. Rotarian Anupji.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, you can.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. It's a great pleasure for me to give the introduction of an all-round true Rotarian who has done much and contributed to Rotary even more in every which way, as an organizer and leader, as a trainer and facilitator, as a speaker, as an activist for the cause of women empowerment and elimination of child and maternal mortality, and as a generous donor to the Rotary Foundation. I'm talking about Rotarian PDG Geeta Manek, a member of Rotary Club of Mutaiga, Kenya in Africa since 1997. Having successfully carried out numerous district level and international assignments, she in 2013-14 became the first female district governor of RID 9200 that comprised 6 countries of Africa, including Egypt, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and others. As an effective, engaging, and much in demand facilitator, she has served as a trainer at several institutes, including Accra, Lagos, and more. She was also International Assembly trainer in 2017 and participated as lead facilitator in 2018. She has been chair Health Major Gifts Initiative Committee in 2019, also chair of Joint Committee
Sir,
on
Geeta
partnerships.
is not there, I think. She was there, but now just
Should I stop?
right now I was checking. She's not there.
Go ahead.
Harish, should I stop?
No, you continue.
You have
Okay.
She will be there somewhere. She will be there.
She is a member of Major Gifts Oversight Committee, and she is also a trustee of the TRF for a tenure of 3 years from 2020 to 2023.
Yeah, all right.
Geeta and her husband, Kaushik, are generous donors to the TRF. They are TRF major donors and benefactors, members of Bequest Society and of Arch Klump Society. Geeta has been recognized by RI.
Right now.
I hear some voices on the background. She has been awarded Service Above Self and appointed RI President's representative in USA, Egypt, Turkey, South Africa, Ghana, and Nigeria. In 2019, Geeta was awarded Honorary Doctorate of Humanities by the United Graduate School and Seminary International for her humanitarian work in Kenya in 2019. Rotarian Geeta has shown her excellent leadership capabilities in such a wide variety of situations that in my estimation, she can occupy the highest position in Rotary in the not too distant future. Fellow Rotarians, please welcome Rotarian PDG Geeta Manik, Foundation Trustee, who will enlighten us on your Foundation Trustee's vision. I present Rotarian Geeta Manik.
Thank you.
Rotarian Geeta Manik, please.
Thank you, Anupamji. To introduce this trustee in a short time of 3 minutes is not an easy task, but you have done it. Thank you. Trustee Geeta Manik.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you for that very kind and generous introduction. Chief guest, Rotary International Director-elect Mahesh, Rotary Foundation Trustee Aziz, and Gulam and PDG Rajiv. This is the Maasai outfit from Kenya, a well-known outfit for Africans and Maasais in Kenya. President,
Geeta, just one moment.
Presidents, leaders.
Geeta, one
Sure,
moment.
sure.
Just 1 second. I would like, please, everyone to mute yourselves. By accident, you may not know that your mic is on, and someone says something, it disturbs the speaker. So my humble request is, please mute yourselves. Go ahead, Geeta.
Thank you, Trustee Gulam. My friends and family of Rotary, with all protocols observed, first and foremost, I'd like to thank you all for inviting me to this amazing gathering where we all come together to share ideas and best practices. I'm really thrilled to have been given this opportunity to speak on our Rotary Foundation and its impact in Africa. You know, when President Holger says Rotary opens opportunities, I really think he's so right. How on earth would I, a simple girl from Africa, of Indian origins, of course, be able to speak to so many Rotarians from India, Pakistan, our partner from Brazil, Claudette, from Nigeria, from Ethiopia, my district governor nominee, and so many people from India and Bangladesh. It's amazing. So yes, Rotary has indeed given me opportunity, and I thank Rotary. So at the onset, please let it be known that I am not an expert, and but just having been a Rotary coordinator, I was exposed to a lot of dedicated Rotarians on my continent. I have witnessed numerous projects and simply been blown away by all the wonderful work our busy Rotarians on our continent are doing. Please allow me to share a brief context on Rotary in Africa. The first club on our continent was chartered in 1921 in South Africa. In fact, next April, we'll be celebrating our centennial. The club in Kenya started 90 years ago, the Rotary Club of Nairobi. So we have had Rotary on our continent for almost a century. Initially, the profile of Rotary was perceived to be very elitist because it was open to a very closed group of people. Over the years, a lot of change has taken place, and Rotary too has evolved along with it. The demographics have changed over the years. The profiles of members, the needs in the communities have also changed. Majority of our people were living in rural settings, but as populations began to grow, so did the needs. At the same time, people began to move from urban settings to from rural settings to urban settings, of course, in search for better prospects and greener pastures. Rotary was not well known on our continent because it was mainly in the cities. However, in the last 35 or so years, Rotary and Rotarians have become more visible. Their work is more seen and exposed. As I speak, we can proudly say that Rotary is growing and is growing at a phenomenal rate, excuse me, on our continent. Just a few years ago, we had only 25,000 members on our continent. Our continent has 1 billion people. Today, we have over 40,000 members on our continent. But these are spread across 54 countries with so many borders, and we have only 16 districts. So yes, in spite of our exponential growth, which I'm really proud of, a lot of work still remains to be done on growing Rotary in Africa. We have a huge potential. We still have a lot of need for training and sharing best practices with our Rotarians. As we all know, information is power. We need to constantly empower our Rotarians and bring them up to date with all that's going on out in the Rotary world. We have a full spectrum of diversity in members with hundreds of languages being spoken across all borders, and our history is all very different in different countries. We really have a mosaic of diversity in spite of all our differences. When we come together at Rotary, we're like an orchestra. We sing the same song. We laugh together. We dance together at district conferences and at institutes. And we look for any reason to have fun and come together. So Rotary in Africa is a lot of fun. The main languages on our continent that are spoken are English, French, Portuguese, and Arabic. 70% of our population is under the age of 40. Our members at Rotary are young, dynamic, full of adventurous spirit, bold and very daring. Over the last decade, our continent has experienced drought, famine, terrorist activities, human trafficking, political uncertainties. And societies are mainly patriarchal. So women are, supposed to know their place in life. But as I mentioned earlier, the entire paradigm is shifting with all the activities, in empowering the girl child. A huge progress has been made in many areas, and women are now in a lot of leadership positions in business and in politics along with Rotary. The progress is very slow, not as fast as I would like, and really insufficient, but at least we are striving to achieve equality. As we fight for equality on all fronts, we are also fighting for equity in education. We're fighting for equity and access to health, access to clean, safe water. Peace on our continent is still very elusive. Any small reason of discontent, and we're out on the streets. In spite of our continent being endowed with so much huge natural resources, our people still remain poor and struggle to live on $1 or $2 a day. So education is really critical to bring our people out of poverty. Without peace, of course, we know there is no progress. We need to educate our people to know that at least they should know their own basic human rights. So Rotarians, when they go out to work in the fields, they really have to, prioritize what comes first and what second, because everything needs to be done all at the same time. Access to health is a challenge. It seems that life of a wealthy man on our continent is perhaps valued more than a life of a poor man. Should that be allowed? I wonder as Rotarians. Similarly, on the front of maternal and child mortality, children from low resource areas are exposed, and so are to weak mothers, weak nutrition. Diseases are more likely to be prevalent, and children before the age of 5 are definitely going to die because they come from low resource areas as opposed to the high resource areas. This maternal and child mortality rate is unacceptable in the 21st century. Preventable diseases like malaria, Ebola are strife. All these because of lack of clean, safe water. So for us, it is important to grow Rotary, which will inevitably grow impact and grow service to the needy communities. Our Rotarians have to be addressing the need with bigger, better, and bolder projects. Otherwise, the challenges are just not going to go away. So Rotarians are compelled to be audacious. Remember that these are young people who are in the prime of their lives, in careers, at crossroads, with their personal and professional lives. So I really, really salute the Rotarians of my continent. They try to participate in all the facets of the Rotary Foundation. Remember, Africans are generally not wealthy people. If we take our GDP and relate it to the contributions that is made to our foundation, I can say very firmly that our I'm very proud of our Rotarians, put it that way. Our weakness is that we all don't give. That means there's so many non-giving Rotarians and there's so many non-giving clubs. Again, this is because of our demographics. The young people have their own priorities, which one can appreciate, at their age. But the fact that they contribute, the fact that they care, the fact that they have compassion for the people is truly commendable. This is almost true whenever we explain the multiplier effect of our contributions. Our Rotarians really dig deep into their pockets. Our best ways of fundraising on most parts of Africa is really bigger numbers of Rotarians submitting small amounts. Many clubs have happy and sad dollars at the end of their meetings, which really add up to a substantial collection. Whilst the Rotarians contribute small amounts, we have a fair number of Paul Harris Society members who regularly contribute $1,000. About 6 or 7 years ago, we had only one AKS member for many, many years. Now, in the recent past, we have got close to 35 AKS members on our continent. I must also confess that in spite of the fact that we make our humble contributions, our Rotarians are beginning to write those big and impactful grants. And to give you an idea, each year, our district, for example, would contribute something like $500,000 on the higher side to the foundation. But in return, when they apply for grants, we receive close to $8 or $9 million. And now you can think of the return on investment, but it's not only the return on investment, it is more to do with what we need and how we can make the impact in our communities. You may wonder, what do Rotarians do with so much money? Well, Rotarians on our continent are really busy organizing vocational training teams, both incoming and outgoing, and mostly in the areas of health and water. Our clubs participate in all 7 areas of focus, and allow me to mention that even prior to the environment being the formal 7th area of focus, a lot of work was being done in this area. And we have witnessed a lot of forests being cut down. The most popular projects are still water, health, and education. There is a lot of interest in peace studies and exchange programs, but not to such a great extent. I'd like to quickly share some slides that will give you an overview of what's going on. And my president is going to help me with this. So Sandra, let's kick it off. I'd like to take all of you on a trip to Ghana. Rotary International has signed a memorandum with USAID in the area of WASH. Sandra, if you may extend the slide, thank you. This is a WASH project. It says clearly, the previous slide, please. You can see the man drinking water from a pond. And then you can see the intervention brought about with one club's intervention. You can see the yard at the back. It's not the most healthiest sign, the children drinking even clean water, but in dirty utensils. So there is a lot of education that still needs to be done. Although this slide shows a project of a global grant, it's just going to serve that small community. The pond that this young man is drinking from is probably shared with everybody in the village and the cattle and all the animals that live around. So really, you know, this intervention was really necessary. Ghana is in West Africa, very far from us. It's about 5 hours flight from here, but this is the same scenario all over our continent. The next slide will show you the before and after intervention of a school. You can see the thatched roof under which the children were studying. And with the help of a global grant, you can see the difference. The grounds have been cleared up. You know, it just makes such a huge difference. With such an environment, you can attract more qualified teachers. The children in this community used to be working on the farms with their parents, but as soon as a school in a formal setting was built, you know, parents were somehow, you know, convinced that they should send their children for education to this facility, and similarly around the continent. Now, from West Africa, let me travel with you and take you to Tanzania in East Africa, where I used to be the governor of that country some years ago when we had 6 countries in our district. At present, we have 4 countries in our district. So when I talk about how sparsely populated Rotary is, it's really, we have to work hard on it. So this slide shows you very simple project, again with the help of a global grant. Rotary Club of Marangu is on the foothills of the Mount Kilimanjaro. And here, the community needed a basic bridge just to access facilities, markets for their produce. The bridge was just necessary for health, education, everything that was across on the other side, but not on this, on either side actually. So this is a great example of Rotarians really building bridges and building communities. Then next slide, again in Tanzania at the Rotary Club of Same. The Rotary Club of Same, this is a water project. You can see how it was before and after. Large community, Rotary Foundation grant applied by Rotarian Sharmila, who was the governor then. You can see her in the Indian outfit, and the Rotarians of the Rotary Club of Same. I remember visiting this club, and you can see the setting. We were, the Rotarians meet under a tree. There is no drinks, and there are no foods, and there's no lunch and dinner. This is how simple Rotary is in many, many parts of Africa. But the desire of the people to uplift their communities is just unwavering. It is so amazing that even people with the smallest of resources want to help their communities. Again, in the same area, where one community had a large number of cattle and they did not know how to store their milk and process the milk. This dairy was at the Rotary Club of Moshi. One of our AKS members lives there, and her name is Faye Cran. She was very much instrumental in making sure that, you know, the communities were economically empowered with the processing of milk, again through the global grant. From Tanzania, let's go to Egypt, to a modern school of mass communications. Okay, we're still in Tanzania, but you can see the before and after, and now we're back in Egypt. Sandra, next slide is fine, thank you. So you can see the stark difference on our continent. At one point, we are in the village or in the farmlands, in the forests with no facilities, and now in Egypt, where, you know, with the College for Mass Communications. But at the same time in Egypt, there is need for pediatric and non-invasive procedures. Rotarians from all over the world came together, worked with the Rotary Club of Cairo, and got the children, you know, the wellness programs went through. You can see the little child with the intervention before and after. So these are the types of projects that, you know, go on. Egypt is a country where we had the earliest of civilizations, yet as we evolve, the challenges remain. With population of over 100 million, the resources are scarce, as you can imagine. Participating in global grants and bringing special expertise is really something that we have to count on all the time. We're still in Egypt at a school, as you can see. This is again TRF funded, and from the way the school was before, on literally, you know, thatched roof, and now we are back in a modern classroom. That really makes a lot of difference to the whole environment of education. The next slide, I believe, will show us that's the water project still in Egypt at the Rotary Club of Al Sharouk, which I had the opportunity of visiting some years ago. It's an amazing area, lots of tourists, lots of goodwill, but a lot of challenges too. Then we have the vocational training for women. After the water project is the vocational training for women. This is to, again, economically empower women, make sure that they can hold their heads up in dignity. And as we say, when you educate one woman, you educate the whole community. And Rotarians of Egypt are doing amazing stuff in the area of, and actually all the 7 areas of focus. Remember, they are in the Sahara Desert, so water is really scarce. From Egypt, let's go to the island of Madagascar. Madagascar suffers a lot of weather issues, climate issues, and here there is a project that the Rotarians are doing in the Rotary Club of Madagascar, where in Mayotte, in very challenged area, they speak French and very, very challenged. From there, let's go to Mauritius. Again, they speak French and they speak other languages, but English is also spoken there. Here we have a health intervention with cleft palate surgeries. Really needed. Deformed babies are given this treatment through Rotary Grant funding. And, you know, the children can, also parents, you know, can hold their heads high with dignity, because when you have a deformed child, or a child that has special needs, you have a lot of stigma attached to it, and this is a really life-changing surgery. So Rotarians worked at the Rotary Club of Grand Baye to make sure that their cleft palates were issue was addressed. And here we have, you can see the last picture where the baby is really looking fine. These are simple interventions, but really valuable. You know, they say that it might be very small amount of money or our expertise, but it is life-changing for the people who receive our contributions. Here we are in Nigeria, west of Africa, crossing the continent, desperately needing incubators. This grant provided for 3 incubators. But again, this is the same story all over our continent. There's a great need for every type of intervention. We say that Rotarians are people of action who come together to identify a need and then find solutions. How can you not be proud of what's going on? I've shown you a variety of solutions that Rotarians have provided to the challenges in their communities. I wonder if Trustee Ghulam or PDG Rajiv has noticed that I have not talked about my country. If you indulge me for a moment, I'd like to share a truly amazing project which has turned into a full-scale program. We are now in the 4th phase of this program in in Turkana, the dry, parched, arid northern Kenya. The outfit that I'm wearing today as I'm speaking is made by these women out there. See, the beads that they have and the beads that I have are very similar. This is my trip to Turkana in 2011. You can see the malnourished children, the mothers with really sunken eyes and sunken cheeks. I went to Turkana in 2011 with the Red Cross to survey the devastating effects of this terrible drought we were experiencing. What I witnessed was heart-wrenching, an experience that will stay with me till my dying day. This is the day I transited. This is the day I transited from being a member of a Rotary Club to being a real Rotarian. I realized that something needed to be done. It had to be done swiftly because our people were dying of starvation. If ever there was a life-changing moment for me, this was the one. I knew that I alone could not do anything, but the connections of Rotary, my wonderful club members, we could transform this community. I spoke to the district leaders and they dismissed it, saying it was too far, we will not manage it, how will we account for it? I don't think it's a good idea. I brought this to my club, and within a few minutes of discussion, it was adopted with many conditions, of course, but that is natural. I reached out to anyone I knew in the Rotary world. I met past Rotary International Director Giri Piper and past trustee Giulio Sorges. With their connections, we collaborated with the Catholic Church Mission, and with Rotary International Director Gidi coming from Israel, he connected us with his club to many clubs across the world for funding, and we supported drip irrigation. If you can have next slide, Sandra. So this is what Turkana looks like. And now with our intervention, you can see, Sandra, just go back one more slide and yeah, see the land. Take a moment and see what this area looks like. And now to the next slide. What transformation my Rotary Club and the members who are on this call today have made happen. They have made magic in this area. The pastoralist community who move with their cattle in search of water are now grounded. We have food for the cattle. We have food for the people. There's a health clinic. There is a school. There are activities like beading like the ones that we are wearing, my president and I. From starvation to excess food, which is now also sold in the local market for a profit. It is in the same county that we are going to support 57 schools in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and the Global Partnerships for Education, which is the arm of the World Bank. We have just applied for a global grant, and all I can say for now is watch this space. I always say that these are the most exciting times for Rotarians in Africa. As many of you know, we have, in Africa, we will be having our next Peace Center at the Makerere University in Kampala, Uganda. The certificate program is designed to attract African students to learn and find African solutions, which are very unique to our continent. This is the ivory tower of the Makerere University, which recently had a fire and is being refurbished. But this is our logo, very proud of the peace logo, Makerere University, because it's Uganda and one of the finest Rotary communities in Africa. And of course, Rotary Foundation has our program there, which is amazing. This center will be officially launched in 2021. As you know, and Aziz has mentioned, we've just managed to kick polio out of Africa. With the elimination of wild polio virus, we have achieved what seems to have been impossible some years ago. We celebrate this major milestone achievement with a lot of caution and a lot of humility. We know that the job is not yet done till it's done all over the world. We are conscious of the fact that there are cases in Afghanistan and Pakistan. And as long as there is one case, that is one too many. Every child on this continent and this world will remain at risk till we get the last child immunized. So I believe this achievement has brought us one step closer to total eradication of polio across our globe. It's a great achievement, but again, this was done in collaboration with parents, teachers, religious leaders, Rotarians from Africa, and all over the world who came in for NIDs and all, fundraising for our communities to make sure that Nigeria which was the last country polio endemic. Now we have polio out of Africa. Our partners, global partners, UNICEF, Gates Foundation, CDC, Gavi, and many, many more. So now I hope I managed to give you a bird's eye view of how busy African Rotarians are, how privileged we are, how we really need to work closely with our Rotary Foundation and our partners all across the globe. And I'm so happy my friend Claudette from Brazil is with us, because she asked for a little contribution, and my club went round, did a little pot collection, and we sent her our humble contribution. We are proud that we partnered with a club in Brazil. We would love to partner with the clubs in Pakistan, Nepal, Afghanistan, or India, wherever we have, because we are all in the same game. We want to achieve what we can for our communities. The Rotary Foundation really is the jewel in the crown. It is the engine that turns the wheels of Rotary, but also is an enabler that eradicates poverty through all our activities in whichever area we're passionate about. I would like to thank you all for giving me this opportunity to share with you what goes on our continent. This is just an overview, but it is an amazing time for Rotary in Africa. Come, join us, partner with us, and let's work together. Thank you.
Thank you. We were not aware all these things, Rotary and Geeta. I personally feel very proud of all humanitarian activities. Foundation is carrying out of this welfare of the community. Thank you. Now, Gulam Vahanwati is another outstanding Rotarian and now the TRF trustee. To introduce him, we have past President Rotarian Harsha Gadgil. Rotarian Harsha herself is committed Rotarian from Rotary Club Bombay CFS. I request past President Rotarian Harsha Gadgil to introduce this great Rotarian Mumbai. Rotarian Harsha, please introduce.
Unmute. Unmute.
Rotarian Harsha.
Yeah. Good evening, Rotarians. What a pleasure to introduce TRF trustee, past district governor, Rotarian Gulam A. Vahanwati. PDG Gulam is an alumnus of India's finest institutions, St. Xavier's College, Mumbai, and IIM Calcutta. Having graduated in business management, he joined the prestigious Tata Administrative Services in 1970 and then entered family business of scrap processing and shipbreaking in 1974. Since then, he has forayed into diversified businesses. During his study at St. Xavier's College, he was elected the first student chairman of the Students' Union Council in 1967-68. Before Gulam became a Rotarian, he was selected as a Rotary GSC team from District 314 to District 656, Indiana, USA in 1978. He was invited to join the Rotary Club of Bombay Downtown in 1979 and was president in 1985-86. He later moved to RC Mumbai in 2015. In 2002-03, RID 3140 unanimously elected Gulam as a district governor. A major project during his tenure was the railway station adoption project called Jana Seva Abhiyan, when the Rotary clubs of his district made it their mission to ease all the hassles associated with local rail commuting. As a DG, Gulam also inspired a record contribution of US dollars 654,000 to the Rotary Foundation, the largest by any Rotary district in India till 2006-07. Gulam's commitment and his training and motivational skills have been duly acknowledged when he was assigned several Rotary international tasks by RI and TRF. He served as a regional Rotary Foundation coordinator, member of Rotary Peace Centers Committee, RI training leader for 2007 and again for 2008, chairman of RI Communications Committee, member of Vision Committee, RI president's representative to many district conferences in India, Australia, New Zealand, and USA. He has been appointed TRF trustees from July 2018 to 2022. In 2020-21, Trustee Gulam has been appointed the chairman of the Stewardship Committee of the Trustees of the Rotary Foundation. He is a major donor and is a recipient of Rotary International's Service Above Self Award and the Rotary Foundation Citation for Meritorious Service and Distinguished Services Award. Gulam's motto of service encompasses other initiatives too. He is a member of the governing board of Mumbai, first a high-powered group of citizens committed to improve the quality of life in Mumbai and other organizations, the work for probity in public life and promoting communal harmony. Horses are dear to Gulam, and he has been a proficient horse rider from childhood. He was a committee member and the chairman of stewards of the Royal Western India Turf Club Limited. He resigned from both when he became the trustee of TRF. Gulam married Hasina in the December of 1970. Hasina, the love of Gulam's life, has been his strength and support till she passed away into the ages on the New Year's Day in 2015. Gulam is blessed with a son and daughter who has given him loving granddaughter and 2 grandsons. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting to you TRF trustee PDG Gulam A. Vahanwat.
Now I request Trustee Gulam Vahanwati to address today's webinar.
Thank you, President Ragini, and also thank you, Past President Harsha Gadyali, for that very elaborate and very nice introduction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Geeta Manek, Governor Harish Motwani, Past Governor Ajit Pradhan, Chairman and organizer of this event, Past President Chandrakant Chaudhary, distinguished past governors from all over the country and also many other countries around the world, clubs and presidents supporting this event, including President Ragini of the Rotary Club of Aurangabad Metro, President Megha of the Rotary Club of Pune Kalyani Nagar, President Sandra Bomet of Rotary Club of Muthaiga in Nairobi, Kenya, Rotarian Kamrul Hassan of Rotary Club of Dhaka, Lalmatia in Bangladesh, and Rotarian Jamil Akbar of Rotary Club of Karachi, Pakistan. Fellow Rotarians from around the world, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, Jambo, salams, and namaskar to all of you. I'm very happy to be here in this Rotary Foundation webinar, literally on the very first day of the Rotary Foundation month. And I must thank Past President Chandrakant for inviting me to this webinar for peace. Very pleased at the large attendance of Rotarians and not just from India, but from several other countries. And I must especially thank and recognize presidents of the Rotary clubs in Kenya, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and India for being the co-hosts. Just as an aside, I want to recognize our young presenter, Riya Bhumkar, for her presentation. Although that idea has been utilized in other cities, Riya, it was an extremely well presented piece, and I wish you all the very best. These are difficult times that we are going through. You know, I have addressed several virtual meetings since the beginning of this pandemic, and I always spoke about the tough times we were going through. But in my heart, I believe that by October, we would be winning the war against this dreaded virus. Well, that was wishful thinking. So we must continue to work together, stay safe, and ensure that we wear masks and observe physical distancing. I want to praise past President Chandrakant for organizing this important webinar. I have known him for many years and he has always been committed to the Rotary Foundation and its quest for peace. In this context, I must congratulate past President Chandrakant for bringing Rotarians from Kenya, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and India on this one platform. And if you see, he has had this event hosted by clubs from all 4 countries. Further, I'm not sure if you noticed, the persons introducing the speakers are from Pune, Aurangabad, and Mumbai. I commend you, past President Chandrakant, for your dedicated efforts to make this grand event happen and consistently promote brotherhood and bringing people together. I'm very pleased to have 2 of my fellow trustees, Geeta Manek and Aziz Mehman, on this webinar. Both are dear friends and their voices are heard with respect on the board. I was also very pleased to have Director-elect Mahesh as the lead speaker. Mahesh has left, but I must inform you that he and I go back many years. When he was the governor in 2005 and 6, I was the Regional Rotary Foundation coordinator. We also have District Governor Harish, who is doing an excellent job as leader of District 3132. I wish you well, Harish, and you have my support in whatever months are left of this year. Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Also, past Governor Rajiv is with us. He is not only one of the most respected past governors here, he's also a very respected figure in Africa. As a doctor, he has been a regular with past President Sabu at the medical camps, and I thank him and congratulate him for his dedicated service. All of you present here are leaders. You have commitment, you have competence, you have knowledge. These are all very important, but to me, one of the most important ingredients is teamwork. I've always believed that success is due to teamwork. No governor or DRFCC can do it alone. You always need a team. No president can do it alone. You need the members to support the president, because I believe that working together works. And this team must have effective communication and its members must be suitably recognized at the right time. My friends, I've been committed to the Rotary Foundation ever since I was a member of the Group Study Exchange, even before I became a Rotarian. Our top priority today is to overcome COVID-19. But let's not forget polio. Both my fellow trustees, Aziz and Geeta, have mentioned the importance that even one child affected is one too many. We have made a commitment to the children of the world that we will and we must eradicate polio from the face of the earth. Let me come to this pandemic. You know, the trustees responded very, very promptly to the pandemic. In March, when the pandemic was declared by WHO, all physical meetings had stopped in Rotary, and we were only meeting virtually. But our then chair, Trustee Gary Wang, called for a meeting immediately of the trustees and said, what must we do to fight this pandemic? What must we do to support clubs and districts who are fighting to fight the pandemic? So immediately, there is one grant called the Disaster Response Grants. These are used when disaster strikes and are specific to disasters. Money that comes in for the disaster is then given out to districts or clubs which may apply for it. Now, in this case, the trustees decided that we would give every district an opportunity to apply for a disaster response grant up to a maximum of $25,000. And they could only apply once. So we immediately transferred $1 million to the disaster response grant. Now, if you do your mathematics, that's only 40 districts that could apply and get that amount. So because the number of applications was so large, we transferred another $2 million. So $3 million were transferred from the World Fund to the disaster response grant. That was not all, my friends. We also said that let's make global grants for COVID easier to do. So we said, let's remove the international matching for global grants for COVID. So while you needed an international partner because we believe in our internationality, we did not need any contribution from the global grant partner. Now I'll tell you, in just 10 weeks, from the middle of March to around the end of May, we sanctioned 169 new COVID global grants. I'm talking worldwide, which totaled to $13.81 million. Then there were also global grants which were sanctioned earlier, not for COVID. And the trustee said, if you want to use this balance money, if there is any left, you can apply, we will repurpose the grant and you can use it for COVID. So there were 47 such applications which totaled to $480,000. And we gave 209 disaster response grants, which totaled to $5.2 million. My friends, the total amount in 10 weeks given by the Rotary Foundation was 19.5, almost $20 million. Now, when I said that $3 million were transferred from the World Fund to the from the World Fund to the disaster response, you can imagine that there was immense pressure on the World Fund. Also, when we removed the international partners funding, many global grant applications came in for COVID. And so money from the World Fund again was under pressure. And I must tell you something. In a normal period over the past years, historically, in the months of May and June, there is approximately $1 million transferred every week from the World Fund to the disaster response grant, from the World Fund to the global grants. But this time, because of the COVID global grants, the tremendous number of applications in 1 week, between the 17th of May and the 23rd of May, $6 million were transferred from the World Fund to the global grants. And my friends, that meant that the World Fund had run out of money for global grants. And that is why I must speak to you about the importance of the annual fund. Where does the World Fund come from? It comes from your giving to the annual fund, of which 50% goes to your DDF, 50% goes to the World Fund. And over the last several years, after the Rotary Foundation centenary year after year, the World Fund, annual fund contributions have been coming down, which means that the World Fund has been getting less and less money. At the same time, the success of global grants has been dramatic. There has been a very substantial increase in global grants applications, whereas the amount of money coming into the annual fund has been less and less. There is clearly an imbalance, and the trustees had to address this. And my friends, from the 1st of July of last year, and I'm talking of 1920, from the 1st of July, the trustees were made aware that the World Fund is under immense pressure and we have to take some drastic decisions. We examined many permutations and combinations. And at the end, after looking at everything, the trustees decided that the only way to conserve the World Fund was to stop matchings on cash contributions. I know District Governor Harish mentioned in his brief presentation, in his brief speech, that it's an unhappy decision. I agree with you. It's an unhappy decision, but it's something that we had to take, because otherwise we would be faced with a tremendous discrepancy between demand and supply. And even this year, I can tell you, World Fund will run out by the end of December. That's the kind of pressure that the World Fund is under. So we must all work together to increase contributions to the annual fund. It's only when we increase funds for annual fund will we get more money into the World Fund. And also, let's not forget to support the polio fund. All of us must be committed and support every district leadership every year, year after year, for their contributions when they motivate Rotarians to give to the annual fund and polio. As I mentioned, the Rotary Foundation supported the COVID relief efforts of clubs and districts by sanctioning a substantial number of COVID global grants. However, this large number of global grants sanctioned places a very heavy responsibility on all of us on stewardship. So let me speak briefly on the importance of stewardship. As you know, this year I am, as you may know or may not know, I am the chairman of the stewards of the stewardship committee of the trustees. And the most important reason why stewardship is important is that we are Rotarians who have the highest standards of ethics and integrity. Every other reason, my friends, is secondary. Integrity is important because it is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Let's all follow the four-way test and ask ourselves, is it the truth? You know, Warren Buffett advises people on investing money, but he also gives very, very sage advice in looking for people to hire. And he says, when you are looking for a person to hire, look for three qualities. First, integrity, second, intelligence, and third, energy. And then he goes on to say that if that person, he or she, does not have integrity, forget it, forget him or her, because the other two will kill you. That's the importance that even Warren Buffett gives to integrity. We must remember that we are using funds that are given for grants, either district or global, that have been contributed by donors. And the donors are you and me. And we owe it to us, to the donors, that the funds are used as intended. So these are our own funds. Let's use grant funds as we would use our own funds. And both the above points tell us one important truth, my friends, and that is our foundation trusts us as Rotarians to uphold the four-way test and do the right thing always. When I talk of trust, I love giving the example of the bank. You apply for a bank loan and you apply for a global grant application. Both are applications which are difficult to fill out. They're tough. The global grant also asks you many searching questions. Have you done a community assessment? What is your projection, etc., etc. The bank loan, when you apply for a bank loan, they also ask you, what is your projection for profit and loss? What is your balance sheet? What are your assets, etc., etc. But when both are sanctioned, the bank manager calls you and tells you, sir, I'm very happy your bank loan has been sanctioned. But before I disburse the bank loan, you have to give me all the hypothecation of your stocks, your properties. In fact, the bank takes your left arm and your right arm. What does the Rotary Foundation ask of you? It only asks you to sign the form. The basis of that signature, the Rotary Foundation releases the grant amount to you. Whether it be $60,000, $100,000, or $200,000, just think of it, my friends, on your signature, on the trust they have in you as a Rotarian is then released to you because you are a Rotarian and you're worthy of the trust. We must ensure that all individuals involved in a grant must conduct their activities in a way that avoids any actual or perceived conflict of interest. And I give this statement because there is an example, many examples, and I'll give you one. Dialysis machines applied for by a club for a hospital, and in the application it was not revealed that one of the project contacts is also a trustee of that hospital. That's a complete no-no. It's a conflict of interest, and you have to declare that at the very beginning. It is possible that the grants officer will tell you what to do, or she may just say, sorry, this will not work, but you have to declare it at the beginning. Stewardship is also important because it encourages repeat donors. And this is seen in our increased contributions year after year. And I don't tell you that the Rotary, you don't take my word for it, that the Rotary Foundation is very trustworthy. Let's look at an international organization like Charity Navigator that rates NGOs in America. It rates more than 9,000 NGOs. It is an independent body. It rates them on different parameters: financial health, transparency and accountability, how much of the money that comes in as contributions goes back to projects, etc. And then Charity Navigator gives ratings from 4-star, which is the least, to 4-star, which is the highest. There is no 5-star. And for 12 years running, last year was the 12th year, when the Charity Navigator gave the Rotary Foundation its 4-star, its highest rating. And we must all be very proud, my friends. This is a critical factor that talks of our stewardship, of the importance of our stewardship, and that encourages donors to give repeat giving and higher giving. We also do, our cadre members around the world do regular audits. We do random audits, we do regular audits. But there is one other audit that I must talk to you, and that is a specific audit that is directed. because of a whistleblower. I praise whistleblowers. The whistleblower is not a term to be disparaged. It's something that we should all be very, very aware of, that the whistleblower plays an important role in telling us, hey, listen, something is wrong here. Please look at it. And when we get a written signed complaint, which is confidential, no one will ever come to know of it. It's only me as a trustee and maybe a few very senior staff people know about it. We examine it. We look at that global grant and see, is there any truth in what is being said? And if we have any basis, we will do a specific audit for that. And then we find out, yes, there was faults. And I can tell you real life examples, and I won't give you places or clubs, but we have been able to recover thousands and thousands of dollars, and we have penalized Rotarians for the wrongs that they have done. So my friends, remember, whistleblowers are very important. You know, there is in the trustee agenda, there is always a item agenda, which is stewardship matters. As chairman of the stewardship committee, I would like to see that we have no work. I would truly like to see that simply no stewardship matter is reported to the stewards because to the trustees, because there is none that has come that is there. Rotarians are worthy and doing the right thing always. So we need your support to ensure that such a situation does come about. My friends, our foundation does good in the world, and to continue to do that, it needs your contributions. It is the giving by thousands of Rotarians all over the globe in the last century and in this one that has helped the Rotary Foundation to do good in the world. As Anne Frank put it so beautifully, no one has ever become poor by giving. It is in giving to others that we really give a gift to ourselves. To us as individuals, our problems seem huge. But if we dwell on the plight of others, like what Geeta has just shown us so beautifully, and now she was emotionally moved when she was presenting it. If we dwell on the plight of others who are without life's basic necessities, our problems seem trivial in comparison. If you are willing to lend a hand and give to those in need, life will repay you in ways you never imagined. All the good that you do in the world will come back to you. So I request you, my friends, give to our foundation. Please give so that it serves the needy and ensures that Rotary continues to open opportunities for all those who need Rotary's helping hand. Thank you for your listening. Good luck. God bless you all. I thank you, everybody. I was hoping that I could answer some questions, but Chandrakant, past President Chandrakant and the organizers, I must leave because I have to join a condolence meeting, which may just about be ending. So thank you very much. And I really appreciate being invited here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gulam Wuhanwati. Now we are coming to last session of today's seminar. To analyze and summarize, we have a very sincere Rotarian, well known not only in our district but all around the globe. And he is PDG Rotarian Dr. Rajiv Pradhan. I invite Rotarian Dr. Rupali Abhankar to introduce Rotarian Rajiv Pradhan.
Hello, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes.
This is PP Rotarian Dr. Rupali Abhankar from Y. I'm here to introduce Dr. Rajiv Pradhan, who's a renowned pathologist and a very senior and enthusiastic Rotarian from Solapur, which is in Maharashtra, India. He has done his graduation and post-graduation in Mumbai and also taken a specialized training in Australia. He has been practicing in Solapur since 1985 and has a very modern laboratory of his own and is also attached to other hospitals. Presently, he is also the honorary vice chairman of the Indian Red Cross Society and the Red Cross Blood Bank. Being in this noble medical profession, he has given a lot to thalassaemic patients, and today 132 children of his area are being given free blood transfusions. He has personally donated blood 130 times. Academically too, He has been on the forefront and has presented several papers in conferences. He has given more than 1,000 lectures on health subjects. He's been a Rotarian since 1985 and has had the privilege of serving as the district governor in 97-98. He has also organized 27 multi-faculty surgical camps in many African countries like Uganda, Ethiopia, Nigeria, and many more. Similar projects were conducted in India, in Udhampur and Latur. Being a super active member of the National Polio Plus Committee for the past 14 years, he has had a major role in global polio eradication. He has worked on n number of committees, national, international, as a trainer, speaker, and advisor. To me, he sounds like a legendary hero, playing a triple role in a blockbuster hit movie. And believe me, he looks like one too. The Society and Rotary has showered him with many awards for his service. This service bug has got him so early in life that I had begun to suspect that there must be some genetic factor to this. And soon I learned that his father, the late Dr. Madhukar Pradhan, was also a district governor. His spouse, Dr. Uma Pradhan, who is a renowned ophthalmologist, is also into social service. Now, wives are also connected to their husband's blood, but in a vampire-like fashion, they say. Well, jokes apart, all three of them, the father, the son, Dr. Rajiv, and his wife, Uma, have been recipients of the Service Above Self Award. So here we have three awardees in the same family. Dr. Uma has performed more than 18,000 free eye surgeries in her hospital and also in 9 African countries. So here we have Dr. Rajiv Pradhan, who will now present his analysis and conclusion. Thank you, friends, for a patient listening.
Thank you, Rotarian Rupali. Now I invite Rotarian Dr. Pradhan to present his conclusions.
Thank you, Rupali, for that kind introduction. Friends, I know you have been listening to this seminar for last almost 2 years, 2 hours now. But what a feast of knowledge that all these speakers have given you. They have literally explored the nitty-gritties of Rotary Foundation. Few points that I would like to emphasize is that what RI Director nominee Mahesh has said, and that is that 2 areas of focus that Rotary International will always have is membership development and giving to Rotary Foundation. Because without these 2, Rotary International will not be able to function to the best of our capacity. Members are required so that they can do functioning as well as donate to Rotary Foundation. Rotary Foundation, our foundation today, is one of the most sought after foundation in the world, thanks to the trustees like Geeta, Aziz, and Gulam. All 3 of them are doing outstanding function as trustees here. Friends, let me say a few words about what Aziz has said. Polio has been a tremendous challenge in Pakistan and Afghanistan, mainly because in the border area of Pakistan and Afghanistan, which is really a porous border, there has been several incidences of violence, and violence, not just the violence, general violence, but killing of polio vaccinators as well as the soldiers who are accompanying them. And in spite of these problems, Pakistan and Afghanistan have committed themselves to eradicate polio. They have problems. They are trying to sort out the problems. And I must compliment Aziz for taking a lot of efforts for years together. I am being a member of the National Polio Plus Committee. I am very well aware of what Aziz is doing there on that side of the border. And new triple vaccine that he is talking about, let us hope that it will work well and it will reduce the number of vaccine-derived polio virus. This thing. In polio, there is still a funding gap. As much as $2 billion funding gap is still there. As many as 100 districts are not contributing a single dollar to polio. And I think that funding gap, to fulfill that funding gap, Indian Rotarians have a role to play. Today, we don't have, fortunately, polio, but our job is now to fund this program. All the years, throughout the years since the beginning, there are a number of countries who never had polio have been funding this program. Now it's our turn and we must do our part. Second challenge that we have in polio as well as in vaccination program is that in many countries, now the vaccinations, many vulnerable countries, the vaccination levels have gone down below 30% because of COVID-19 in last 7 months. And that is a scary situation. It is not only polio, but other diseases also may rebound and start showing in large numbers. And the health department is terribly worried about this. So we have to make sure that we do routine immunization. As regards what Geeta has been saying, Geeta, I was a member of Rota committee, Rotary Reach Out to Africa committee, and I worked with her husband, Past District Governor Kaushik. And I know Geeta for a very long time, of course. She has been doing outstanding work. And, having gone to Africa more than 40 times in last 22 years, I can tell you, Geeta, that I have seen the change in Africa what it was in 1998 when I first visited there, and now recently a year back when I was again in Africa. In last 1 year, last 7-8 months, unfortunately we have not been able to go, but I have seen that the membership is increasing, not rapidly but gradually but surely, and more importantly, they are doing a lot of foundation projects in education, water, as you see in Ghana. I visited that project in Ghana, and of course the medical projects that we are doing, but many other countries and districts are doing in the field of medicine. So we are doing that. We know that how important projects that you are doing, and I can assure you that India stands behind African countries for doing not only medical projects, but perhaps in future we would also be interested in doing projects in agriculture, sending teams for agriculture. As you have shown that Turkana project, it's a wonderful project. It shows how you can change if you have the proper way of doing it. And I've seen in many countries in Africa, I always found that sometimes there is plenty of water there in some areas. However, as there is no irrigation system, that area is a drought-prone area. I can name some countries which are like that. One is, of course, Malawi, which has a huge lake, and yet there is no proper irrigation system, and therefore there is poverty. So we know that how you are challenging, you are taking up the challenges, and I can tell you that future belongs to Africa because that continent is moving very fast, not only in Rotary but in economic development, and it's a matter of time that it will catch up with the world. With Director Patrick, elect Director nominee now, Patrick Chisanga, who has been in the forefront in Rota committee as well as in many areas, and yourself as a trustee, I think both of you will drive this growth of Rotary in Africa. What Gulam has said about these two, about the COVID, I can tell you that this is one of the greatest achievement of Rotary Foundation, that they can approve grants, they can rise to the occasions much faster than many other international organizations. In polio also, I have always seen that whenever there was a crisis, suddenly Rotary International would grant $1 million, $2 million for polio, when all other countries as well as organizations would take days and months to respond. And this is I think this is our strongest point, that foundation can respond thanks to the very active, proactive trustees. Regarding the stewardship, I know there was time when India was in problem in stewardship, but nowadays it's becoming rarer, lesser and lesser. I have myself gone to do directed audits and audits, and I cannot but agree with Trustee Gulam that stewardship is very, very crucial. And if the stewardship is good, our foundation collection would also increase, because we not only have to rely on donations from Rotarians, but over time we must also make sure that the community, the people who are who's who in the community, also donate to Rotary Foundation, and that will happen only when we show that to the world that we are doing good to the world, and with stewardship, excellent stewardship. I think this has been in a nutshell what we have said, what we have learned today. I'm very optimistic that over the years, I think in the next few years, Rotary Foundation will not only get a Charity Navigator 4-star rating all the time, but it would also be recognized as one of the largest and one of the best foundations in the world, uh, in line with the Rockefeller Foundation, Ford Foundation, or Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It's a matter of time, and if you all support, we all support to Rotary Foundation, I think it is not very difficult. And lastly, but not the least, most important, uh, if and when we eradicate polio, I'm very optimistic, I'm very positive that international organizations world will recognize Rotary, and perhaps we will not be stopped from getting a Nobel Peace Prize, which I feel is something which we ought to get because we deserve it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rotarian Dr. Rajiv Pradhan. Friends, we have come to end of today's program. It is customary to end any program with formal vote of thanks. I request Rotarian Mona Bhunkar to propose vote of thanks.
Thank you, Rotarian Ragini. Namaskar, good evening, Shabba Khair, Habariya Jioni. It gives me immense pleasure to propose the vote of thanks. On behalf of Rotary Club of Aurangabad Metro and all other host clubs, I, Rotarian Mona Bhunkar, would like to express sincere thanks to our motivated District Governor, Rotarian Harish Motwani, for his immense support in making this webinar a grand success. Thank you. I would like to express my gratitude to RI Director-elect, past District Governor Dr. Mahesh Kotbagi, for his inspiring inaugural address. Thank you. I would like to thank our guest speaker, Foundation Trustee Rotarian Geeta Manek, for giving us an excellent coverage on the topic TRF in Africa. We are thankful to Foundation Trustee Rotarian Geeta for lending us her valuable time despite her busy schedule. She has given valuable information on Foundation activities and programs in Africa, which made us more aware than before. Thank you. Whenever we talk about polio or hear something mentioned on polio in Pakistan or Afghanistan, a familiar name to one and all in Rotary world is Trustee Rotarian Aziz Memon. We salute his untiring efforts in eradicating polio from Pakistan and Afghanistan, the only two countries where it still existed. Thank you so much. We are very grateful to our Foundation Trustee Rotarian Gulam Wahanwati for explaining in detail the importance of stewardship and TRF's response to COVID-19. A couple of years ago, he addressed our Physical Peace Summit at Aurangabad in Rotary's Peace Scholarship. A very knowledgeable, well-informed, and very cooperative Rotarian, Trustee Rotarian Gulam Wahanwati. Thank you. The webinar was nicely concluded by PDG Rotarian Rajiv Pradhan, who summarized the proceedings of the webinar in very simple words. His guidance was very helpful in planning, hosting, and finally conducting this webinar successfully. Thank you, PDG Rotarian Rajiv Pradhan. The program was a grand success with the cooperation of all Rotary host clubs, and we hope to continue to have their association in future. We would like to express sincere thanks to past President Rotarian Trilok Kamdar, past President Rotarian Anupam Goyal, past President Rotarian Abha Jha, past President Harsha Ghadiali, and past President Rotarian Rupali Abhyankar, who gave the introduction in very brief but felicitous words. Thank you all. We would like to acknowledge the efforts taken by Rotarian Adesh Nahar and his team for an excellent technical support. Thank you. Last but not the least, I extend my sincere gratitude towards all the Rotarians who joined this webinar and made it a success. Thank you, everyone. For further proceedings, I hand over to Rotarian Ragini. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also thank for the excellent invocation. I must thank her also, Rotarian Arti.
Yes, Suresh.
Thank you, Rotarian Mona and Rotarian Chandrakant Chaudhary, sir. Now I request Rotarian Adesh Nahar to close the meeting. Meeting adjourned.